All right, boys. It's your man, the Mega Power TV, coming at you. And, we've been doing a lot of World of Warcraft coverage lately. But one of my, old school games, so it's not even old school, but I loved, Modern Warfare, the original one. Like, what was it, 2007 Modern Warfare? And then Black Ops and Black Ops 2 were really good. And I actually thought Black Ops 4 was underrated, not because of the multiplayer, but Blackout is better than Warzone. It's better than Warzone 2, and I'm sure it'll be better than this. But I figured let's react to how we made what is this Urzikstan, and I want the reason I'm interested in this is I want to know what they've got going on over there at Raven Studios because I should be on the design team, and they need to shake things up over at Raven. And I don't think they're doing a good enough job. Honestly, like Treyarch is the only development team that I trust with Call of Duty. Warzone sucks. And one, you got to get aim assist out of the game. But they never will because aim assist is an engagement metric. The more you increase the aim assist, the more engagement you get until there's a point of no return with it, which then it becomes like a drawback. So they found like the right amount of aim assist to keep all these DualShock Dannies and console Codys playing this game. And so it's never going away. But let's just check this out. Let's react to this thing, man. Let's get into it.
Understand, we have these phases of map development where it's almost like
See, this is cool, I will say. And I'm just going to put this out here right now. If they left Call of Duty look like this, like, and just updated it a little more with like more of like a cell shaded art style, I actually would be all in for it. And like you could just have this as like another dev team working on something as like a side project. One of my biggest gripes with Warzone and Call of Duty is they've over texturized it. They've overdone the detail to where it's less detailed and it's more just cluttered. And they absolutely love their artificial sunlight with shadows where every single thing casts this like shadow that's a triangle if you look at it, and it just is awful. And they love it to be like rush hour traffic glare in your face for some reason, which no one wants that. Like if you take a look at Valorant's lighting system is perfect because the entire map is lit. You can see everything just fine, and that's the way it should be. No one needs no one needs shadows or dark spots or sun in their face. Like if they this to me actually looks better than the crap that they pump out at the end, especially if you're a PC player like me, where they have just completely missed on their last few releases. A lot of the PlayStation guys don't really notice that because this is like they've really tuned Call of Duty well to run on the consoles, but it just doesn't. It doesn't. It's not optimized on PC. Is I guess the best way to put it. If you're a console Cody, you won't really quite understand what that means, but that's okay because some guys want to drive a Ferrari and other guys want to drive a Honda Civic. But I like the way this looks better than what the end result will be. But it's cool to see the developmental tools and what it looks like beforehand.
progress just kind of jumps out at you, and it's like, look how far we've come. Did you have
We got a senior creative director who's an old man. And then you've got Chase Williams here, senior producer, who's probably like 25, 26. I'm not going to hate on these guys, right? Because that's not fair. I'm a middle-aged balding man myself. So like we're not going to hate on appearance or anything like that. I'm just merely pointing out that it's interesting. You've got a senior creative director and a senior producer. I know they're two different things. But there's a big age discrepancy there, which there's again, we're not going to age shame either, but they're going to both see the world differently, which I can see like a value in it. But given what's come out of Raven Studios and when you see the guys that are working there, it makes you want to ask them more questions of sort of like, why does it end up the dog, bleep way it is? Like, I don't know what the algorithm actually filters out for swearing these days at this point. So let's listen to these guys a little more.
Many moments like that. I think the biggest turning point for me, we hit that balance of density versus openness that we could support these different game styles.
Oh God, they just love this stuff too much. Of like, there's actually no game style to it because it's all built around the aim assist system. That's the thing that these guys are missing. Like, so what they're talking about is like in this close quarters combat versus a more open style in Blackout, which Blackout dominated. That map is so good. Battle Royale games are better out in the open world than they are in close quarters combat running through buildings. But again, the problem is the entire game is built around the aim assist system. And then also slide canceling. I don't know why people like slide canceling. It shouldn't be in the game. Movement shouldn't be at a sprinting, non-stop slide canceling pace because it really messes with the actual gunplay and stuff like that. And if you don't quite understand that, you're probably like 18 to 23 and just have ADHD.
You can learn the map, you can use zip lines, you can use ascenders, you can find new ways to attack. You can use a train that's now drivable. We finally had those pieces together, and we had the Modern Warfare 3 faster movement, we had the slide cancel, we had all those pieces. You want Urzikstan to stand up on its own.
Oh, God. It's interesting to see how they call it, like, with ascenders and zip lines, which it's all about this being able to traverse the map without having to plan ahead of time, which I think you need to have a limited amount of those kind of gimmicks inside of the map. Just because there are situations where you get into a gunfight, right? Maybe the zone is closing in on you. And so you need to have those sort of ways to get out of there. I actually think that they should do away, like zip lines and stuff makes sense, like for vertical scaling if you're going to have these really tall maps or buildings, which I think there's okay when there's limited amounts of buildings. When there's too many, it sort of just crowds it all up. I think one of the things I'm thinking about is like a lot of stuff that they put into these Warzone maps wouldn't make it in their multiplayer maps. And so, and I get it, the idea is that you're in this little city and you're running through it, right? But I just, when you compare everything to how Blackout plays, like there's no way this will be as good as Blackout. But it's just interesting to hear them talk about some of this stuff. But I actually think that there should be sort of, because they also like to build Warzone around like the buy station. And so I think one of the buy station things of less like being able to traverse the map quickly to avoid things is to have some sort of like helicopter pickup, some sort of transport. I actually think that would be really cool and actually feel like a real Warzone type of experience. If you could have like a medevac type thing that comes, like a Black Hawk comes and gets you. You get in the Black Hawk, you've got a limited amount of fuel, and you have to take it to that. And the Black Hawk could literally drop down. They could program it to fly in, land on the spot, like you put a smoke flare down, boom, that signals it to come in. That generates the Black Hawk. Now you can fly that Black Hawk yourself. Fuel load is low, so you're going to have to go, and then you land. And it's not going to be like should it be able to explode? I think so, right? Someone should be able to shoot it down. But I think that would be a cool thing and actually feel more like a real war zone. The truth is, like, let's be honest, in war combat, which I know this is a video game anyways, but there's no zip lines. And I get it, there's none of this stuff, right? But I just, from a concept point, I'd be like, what are we doing here with the zip lines? Like, leave that in Apex Legends.
And so the second that I had that sort of epiphany, it was just like, yes, we are there. The map development.
And here's the thing. The reason I'm not feeling good about this is because these are the same guys that built the last crap that we had last year, where it's just, I don't know why they love brown and washed out colors. But here we are again with brown and washed out colors. So why does everything have to be like this abandoned looking city? Like, and I get it, you're gonna say, well, it's a wartime thing. And it's like, we don't need to have an abandoned city that looks like it's from Fallout. But when they say, oh, boom, we've hit this eureka moment that he's talking about, that's not a good thing, because these are the same guys that designed the last maps.
Urzikstan is so large. It's a massive undertaking from a massive amount of talented people that really care. To start, we have pre-production, and that...
I don't disbelieve them when they say, like, that you got guys that care. And it is a huge undertaking, so I'm not going to discredit any of that. And who knows what kind of parameters they're given from Activision at the time. But man, let me in there, man, and shake up things.
That includes, where do we want to go? What map do we want to do? How big do we want to make it? What did people really like? You know, we're looking online, we're looking at consumer sentiment, and it kind of just expands from there into...
I want to know how they're getting their consumer data, because you can't ask the console Codys. Because the console Codys are drunk, high on prescription medication. They will literally play anything that you give them. It does not matter the quality of it. You could release the worst Call of Duty ever and they will play it. And so I really want to know where they're getting their data from.
Of our design team, and they're starting to do blockout.
In the blockout portion, how much of it is just core?
Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. That lighting right there is a million times better than their final product. You've got some shadow underneath right here. Perfect. You can see, like, they're doing their little sun events that they like to do are starting to take place. But look, it's well lit. Everything, like, the greenery is green. Look at this. You can see actual real colors. And, like, all these boxes and stuff, they don't even, like, you don't need texturing. Like, you could add a little something to it, but this looks great. The water, you can actually tell it's water. And then just wait until you see the final product. Like, this looks good.
Multiplayer learnings.
The core MP learnings are something that we use.
Oh, lead level designer, huh? Oh, God, you guys saw it, right? Man, someone's got to let me talk to that guy. David Vanderhaar needs a raise, man. We need to reshape him too. Unless they're going to let him build a new Blackout, which, please let him do that. We need to get him in the Warzone. But the Warzone, it just needs a whole new engine. It needs everything gone.
Use everywhere across the map. So every single building is a little MP map. We follow the rules and we have no more than 5 to 10 seconds of sprinting without something to do. You don't want...
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sure this dude is awesome at creating maps and would make me look like a complete idiot with his information and knowledge, right? Because I'm not, like, look at these tools this guy's using. Like, this guy, I'm guessing, can make some good stuff, right? And I can understand what he's saying, right? When he's talking about every, 5 seconds, we want you to have something to do, because you don't want you just auto AFKing as your guy's running across a field. And I don't actually mind those situations personally, but it just shows the overall lack of just, not even a lack of, just the overemphasis on that our players have ADHD and are out of their mind. because like I don't actually find anything that intuitive about, look, now I got to scale a fence. Now I've got to power slide through this. Now I'm swimming through some water. Now I'm kicking down doors, running through buildings with full sprint. I don't really find that to be that great of a gameplay loop. Now I can understand where it makes it feel better, and so like I get it. But I think that what it is, it's not necessarily that he's wrong. It's just the whole fundamental idea behind it. The fact that he's talking about like every 5 seconds you need to be doing something. And it's like, no, you don't, man. And again, the console codies are going to be like, well, you're just a boomer. This is Call of Duty. You don't understand. It's like, no, dude, I've been playing Call of Duty for 20 years now. I've been playing Counter-Strike for 23 years. Like, I know this stuff more than you. And so, like, fundamentally, there's some flaws in their whole ideology of this game.
People to go longer than this. And in case people are feeling like the circle's pinching them, that's when we put these in. We have to make sure that each one of them has its own uniqueness. Art direction will give us a concept of it. And we'll take it a step back to level design in gameplay, and then we'll start adding the flavor on it that they want to add.
While they're doing that, it's not in a bubble because we also have our art teams creating really amazing concept art.
What are some of the things that you need to know before you start creating all those images and putting them together?
Definitely there is a narrative of a story side for version. And then once I got the story, I started to gather reference based on what kind of narrative it is. So for example, Old Town, we need to make it more historical.
I actually don't think you really need much of a story in it, but it makes sense if you're going to have some sort of narrative directive of this is the story of this map. So you don't have to do it, but you can. And so that's going to lead. What I'm getting concerned about is you can tell he's really the team is going to be really focused on the story, and what happens is you get this art-driven pattern around the story, and so that's how you end up with like all brown, washed out. Everything looks like it's out of Fallout. Like the tile here that you're seeing is like cracking away, and it adds a level of detail, right? But does everything have to be this broken down? Like, hey, this building's being renovated. So this is an abandoned building that's being renovated. That's what you would see with these scaffolds and stuff like that.
Place, right? So maybe underneath the foundation can be stone bricks. Based on general guidance, you can see the brick material underneath, and then they build the top of the building.
I had a lot of communication with art direction to make sure that we could see how can we continue this type of art language. How can we push this for the player, right? Is this area something that the player can get into? You know, like all the different ways that players can enter and traverse between these buildings.
What I love about Urzikstan is that
These players are going so fast, though, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like less is more, and they're putting too much into it. Because if you watch the way people play Warzone, they are cracked out of their mind, sprinting 1,000,000 miles an hour, auto aim assist locking, RB2 switching on targets, throwing a knife that, of course, automatically always hits because of the aim assist system that people don't want to pretend that's there. There it is, and then they're on to the next target, and it's just this cycle that repeats itself. They don't care about the map, they don't care about the details, they don't care about the art design. You could give these guys literally a pile of dog bleep, and that's the map, and they would run through it as long as that they can get to the end, and hopefully it has victory royale at the end.
we've had this incredibly creative group of people that are passionate about what they do. I would be totally remiss if I just didn't say thank you, first off, wholeheartedly to everybody that has worked on this map, and I think you're really going to love it.
I'm such a bitter old man, right? That's what's coming through on this video. I cannot stand the asset usage of this thing right here. Let me see it right.
You're really going to love it.
This part doesn't bother me too much, but it just shows that they're just reusing some of the same assets. But like this crap right here, out of the this is what I'm talking about. You know how we you get to zoom in on your party. That's all a marketing thing. That's all it is, you guys. It's for all the console Codys at home who are buying skins and just spending 2 battle passes and skins and blueprints and all the different names that they hide the marketing behind, so that you can be with your buddies in your group and be like, look at us, man, we're about to drop into the war zone. That's my man Jimmy Jam. That's my man Big Bob over there. You know, that's my man Mastermind next to me. Look at our squad dropping in. That's us. And it's a waste of an in-game animation and asset that only exists to sell the skins, because it provides nothing in the game itself. Literally nothing. That is the only reason that it exists, and that drives me nuts. And they're reusing the same thing for years now, and it's so bad.
And I think you're really going to love it.
Play for free on December 6th. Oh, am I going to play it? Yeah, I'm going to have to, unfortunately. But that's my job, is to play this stuff. So, I don't know. I was hoping that Warzone 2 last year was going to be an upgrade. And it was instantly, you could tell it was not. Warzone 3, how could it be any better? It can't be. And you could say, how could it be worse? And it's like, you can always get worse. They can't get better over at Raven. Like, Soldier of Fortune, overrated game, was not good. How they've parlayed this into, like, they've been in charge of Warzone now, it really makes you wonder, like, if the pandemic hadn't happened in the way it would, obviously Warzone would have been big, right? But it just makes you wonder a little bit, like, because the original release of Warzone, and this is not a boomer take, this is not nostalgia, because I'm not nostalgia for Warzone. The original version of the release of Verdansk, like that March of 2000 and March of 2020 to like summer of 2020 through there, that is the best version of Warzone. And that, like, there's no one that can even argue against that. And it has subsequently gone downhill ever since then. And even like Caldera, awful. But Caldera was even better than Warzone 2. Think about that. And Warzone 3, like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way that this game is going to be any better than Warzone 2. It is probably going to be even worse. And the console Codys are going to love it. And so it is what it is, right? But it's annoying, because it was one of my favorite franchises. And it was in a good spot with Blackout, and it subsequently have gone downhill since then. And so do I long for the days? Not really. But I would love to see Treyarch get to do a full build on their own. None of this cross-team joining together. Fresh engine, fresh build, all on their own. Build a Blackout 2 or their own version of it, with not tied to the engine, not tied to any of this stuff. That's never going to happen. But I can dream of at least like a Black Ops remastered, right? So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. You know, guys hate on me on my World of Warcraft takes. Tell me what you think of my take here. Comment down below, man. Smash the sub button, and then follow me on here. It's your man, the MegaPowerTV. I'm on Twitch too, streaming on there. Stream on YouTube. Yeah, I didn't even think my stream is on X, even all that stuff. So, anyways, it's your man, the MegaPowerTV, and I'm out.